Welcome to the August 2023 Star Wars Canon Update. Last month we got the start of Ahsoka, more episodes of the Young Jedi Adventures, a new book, and 10 new comics, so let's dive in. But first, a reminder that SAG and the WGA are still on strike, fighting for fair wages for their work on streaming shows like Ahsoka and Young Jedi Adventures. Without the labor of those on strike, these shows wouldn't exist, and they deserve to be treated fairly by Bob Iger and the other streaming companies. The first 3 episodes of Ahsoka were a solid start. I think the pacing could be improved, but I'm having a fun time. Ahsoka taking Sabine as her Padawan is interesting, and the hunt for Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra is proving to be even more epic than I imagined, with both heroes and villains headed to a completely different galaxy. If you're watching this video, I assume you've seen Ahsoka, so I won't spend more time on it. If you want to see my full reviews, you can find them in the cards. Young Jedi Adventures released 6 more episodes, which were all cute, just like the first round of releases. There's nothing huge as far as canon revelations go, but I'm genuinely surprised at how much I enjoy them. I don't think I'll go back over and over for repeat viewings, but I have gotten invested in the characters and their temple on Tanu. Plus, there are just a bunch of cute critters in the show that are fun to watch. From a certain point of view, Return of the Jedi just came out on August 29th. Like the previous entries in this series, it's a lot of fun and full of fun stories about the side and background characters of the film. Since it was released only a few days ago, I'll stay away from any further specifics, but if you want my full review, I'll link to it in the cards. It's also out on audiobook, with an extensive cast taking turns reading many of the stories. If you want to get it for free on Audible, you can by following the link in the description or by visiting audibletrial.com/Star Wars Explained. The first issue of the Dark Droids comic crossover event was interesting, and cool, and grisly. The Spark Eternal infests a small droid in the aftermath of Kira's attack against the Empire. It's then able to spread throughout other droids on a Star Destroyer, who quickly take over the ship, killing every organic being on board in gruesome fashion. It then begins spreading to other factions, and is able to possess 3PO. We also catch up with Ajax Sigma, who doesn't get much of an introduction for this series, so hopefully you read the Han Solo and Chewbacca comic, or at least the Revelations one-shot. He is currently leading a group of enlightened droids and plans to fight against the Spark. Star Wars issue 37 continued the story as Lobot's implants start to malfunction, taking control of Admiral Akbar's ship and nearly opening fire on the Rebel fleet. Lando is able to keep what happened a secret and starts to work to finally get Lobot's implants fixed. But to do that, he'll have to confront his past mistakes and find the droid he sold to Jabba like 2 years worth of comics ago. I'm always glad to see some loose ends getting tied up, including some really great connections back to the Lando comic, which is great if you've never read it. Darth Vader issue 37 showed infected droids continuing their rampage against the Empire, this time on the Executor, wiping out nearly everyone on board once again. Vader, who is still struggling to maintain control over the Force, is sent there to deal with the problem. A droid suggests he take a lighter, more Jedi approach to his powers, which Vader reacts poorly to, but I expect that will be part of his journey in this arc. Dr. Aphra issue 35 followed Aphra as she investigates some old Clone Wars era battle droids from the Tag Corporation that are also infected by the droid virus. But first, she hooks up with Domina Tag and then gets conned hooking up with a stranger in a nightclub, all because she's lonely and misses Sana. So maybe this whole ordeal will actually see her become a better partner. You know, if she survives. Bounty Hunters issue 37 followed the bounty hunting crew as they continued to try to rescue Valance's memories, the final human piece of him. Their quest leads them to a floating droid colony that actually first appeared way back in the old Marvel Star Wars comics from the 70s. Several of the droids are already infected and seem to be a threat to Forlom and Valance, and another cyborg seems like he wants to transfer his consciousness into Valance. Moving out of the Dark Droids-related series, the final issue of the Yoda miniseries was good. The former Grandmaster ventured into the Dark Side Cave on Dagobah for at least the second time in his life. There he confronted his failures as the leader of the Jedi, not just with Dooku and the Clone Wars, but all the way back to the High Republic and Keeve Trennis, which is ominous as we prepare to get into Phase 3. But he is able to remind himself that all failure is a chance to learn and try again, and so he prepares to train Luke, just as Obi-Wan heads to Hoth to contact Skywalker. It was a trippy issue which I always enjoy. The series as a whole was a good read. The Max Rebo issue of the Return of the Jedi collection was a fun time, a story of murder and intrigue in the final days of Jabba the Hutt as Max and his 2 drummers all come to blows during their own attempts to assassinate or protect Jabba, all for reasons surrounding family or clans or those that came before them. But of course all their struggles are for nothing when Leia gets the job done herself. The Mandalorian Season 2 Issue 3 was the same fast summary of an episode of The Mandalorian, just like every other issue. There were some cool panels of art in this one, but no new additions to the story. Hyperspace Stories issue 7 was surprisingly good. I've said it before, but the fact that these issues get to tell one full story instead of two shorter ones like in Star Wars Adventures was a smart change, and even having the tiniest bit of connectivity surrounding a Wookiee toy has made me more invested. This issue by Michael Marisi was about Boba Fett helping a Wookiee girl track down her lost toy until Bossk and his Trandoshan friends intervene, but of course he beats them all and had some memories of his father along the way. Hyperspace Stories issue 8 was a story about Kylo Ren and Hux sent to force a planet into serving the First Order. I liked their interactions with one another. Hux talking and Kylo Ren just giving him the silent treatment until he submits was a great moment, and the design of the Bramalish beast was cool. For Story of the Month, I'm gonna go with the second episode of Ahsoka. I think that was my favorite of the bunch, and I really enjoyed the duel between Ahsoka and Marok paired with Hera and Chopper chasing the freighter. In September, we're getting 4 more episodes of Ahsoka, a new High Republic Anthology book, and 10 more comic issues. The Canon Update will return in early October to cover all those stories. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.